blinded by the light. I've pulled the curtain because I can't make the video with the light shining in my face like that. So I hope this isn't so dark that you can't see me. This will be a short video. I just wanted to come on because, well, partly because this is my favourite week of the year. It's Halloween week. I love Halloween. And I wanted to speak to you about Halloween. Because it's the time of year, the clocks have just gone back in the UK anyway, they've gone back an hour, and it's the time of year where some people will naturally enough be saying, oh, it's terrible, the clocks have gone back, it's so dark, oh, I hate this time of year, etc. Whereas I actually think, at last, the dark part of the year is here. My favourite part of the year is here. I can relax into myself, I can let my creative juices flow, I can contemplate and cogitate in the darkness and also sometimes in the light, and it's just wonderful. I love this time of year. But I understand that some people don't like it, and I understand that people don't like it for different reasons. So you do get the people who will say it's too dark and cold and winter's coming and all that kind of stuff, and there are other people, strange as it may seem, there are other people out there who do not like Halloween. I do not get that. But I respect everyone's right to like or dislike whatever time of year they like or dislike. I think one of the reasons that lots of people don't like Halloween, or lots of the reasons I hear for people not liking Halloween, is that they don't like how commercialised it is. The whole kind of you know, fake ghosts and goblins and spooks and spectres and witches' hats and plastic pumpkins and candy and everything that you get in this candy, here am I, Mr. America, sweets that you get in the shops. And they don't like the whole trick-or-treat concept of Halloween. And I get that, I understand that. I know that some people like to, on Halloween night in particular, they like to shut their door and they like to turn the light out and pretend that they're not in so that trick-or-treaters don't come and bother them. And I do understand it. I think one of the reasons that I love it so much, of course, is that I was born and grew up in Scotland. And in Scotland and Ireland and Celtic countries, Halloween is a very different experience, I think, than it is in, and has been in America for a number of years, and latterly has been over here in the UK and certainly in England. Because in Scotland, Halloween was never really about trick-or-treating. It probably is now. But what we did at Halloween, what I did as a child, was we went guising. Guising was different to trick-or-treating. Different, but similar. Similar in the sense that one would dress up. You'd dress up as a ghost or a witch or a wizard or a goblin or a ghoul of some sort. And you would go out and you would, as trick-or-treaters do, collect sweets and things like that. But in Scotland, and in my experience as a child, what you did, instead of going and knocking on people's doors and just saying trick-or-treat, was you had to do something. You had to do something to earn the treats. And when I grew up, it was a case of you told a joke, or you sang a song, or or what I did was I played a tune on my recorder. I say a tune, I made noises come out of my recorder, usually an attempt at the Sky Boat song, Speed Bunny Boat and all that. And in return for this little performance, you would be given your treats. And again, in Scotland when I grew up, the treats tended to be a mixture of sometimes sweets if you were lucky, more often, you know, copper pennies, some fruit, an apple or a satsuma, and seemingly endless supplies of monkey nuts. You know, the kind of peanuts that you actually get in a shell. That was standard Halloween fare when I was a child. Spare change, monkey nuts, fruit, and occasionally sweets. So it wasn't like, you know, you went out expecting to get bushels of Haribo. It was a bit more earthy than that. And so it was fascinating for me when I moved to England in the mid-90s, because obviously I hadn't been out guising for years and years and years. By the way, guising is a Celtic tradition where the theory behind it was, or the philosophy behind it was, that little kids would dress up as ghosts and goblins so that the real ghosts and goblins wouldn't mistake them, or would mistake them for other ghosts and goblins and would therefore leave them alone. And also another theory is that you dress up as a ghost and goblin to chase the other ghosts and goblins away. Although why ghosts and goblins would be frightened of ghosts and goblins, I never quite understood. To me, the theory about trying to disguise yourself from ghosts and goblins who were wandering the earth because the veil had become thinner, that made more sense to me. So, oh, and I loved Halloween. I loved Halloween because there was something magical about it, and not just the concept of it, not just the concept of being able to, you know, dress up and be spooky and so on, although I loved that. It was a visceral feeling. On Halloween night, I genuinely, as a child, would look up at the sky and half expected, in all honesty, to see a witch flying across the moon. You know, if a ghost had risen up from the pavement in front of me, I wouldn't have been entirely surprised. It was a night where it was possible to believe that all of that stuff was real. And even now as an adult, I can be walking home from work on Halloween night, and you know, if the light is just right, and if the wind blows autumn leaves across my path in just the right way, oh, I can feel that magic. I can feel the magic now just thinking about it and speaking about it. So I loved Halloween. And also in Scotland, we had no pumpkins in the 70s and 80s, which is when I was out guising. We had no pumpkins, so we used, as they did in Ireland and Scotland in the olden days, even older days than when I was a kid, we used turnips. We had no pumpkins, so we used turnips. So we hollowed out a turnip. And my parents were somewhat risk averse and probably were a bit worried that I would set fire to myself and possibly to the entire neighbourhood, so they didn't allow me to put a candle in my turnip. I had a battery operated torch. So my traditional jack-o'-lantern wasn't a pumpkin with a candle in it, it was a hollowed out turnip with a battery operated torch in it. And so I still feel kind of nostalgic when I think about those, that jack-o'-lantern. Sunbathing in autumn. So, Halloween, loved it, loved it, loved it. And when I moved down south in the mid-90s, I had a house of my own, and the first year I had a house of my own, I remember really looking forward to Halloween because I thought, I am going to give the guisers a real treat. I'm going to really enjoy engaging with them, and they're going to come, they're going to do their little performance, and it's going to be great, and I'm going to give them some sweets and fruit and money, and oh, it'll be great. So that first year, on Halloween, I prepared myself, and I stocked the cupboard with lots of sweets, and I had spare change, and I had fruit, and I had all the things that one needs for guisers. And I waited in anticipation for the guisers to arrive. And I made sure the light was on outside, so that they would know that they were very welcome at my home. And I put Happy Halloween signs up outside and all that kind of stuff. That's a way of saying, you know, I welcome guisers. Anyway, the time came. Dusk fell. Halloween night. Knock, knock, knock on the door. I open the door, and there before me are a group of, you know, witches and mummies and Frankenstein monsters and, you know, genie of the lamp kind of people. Kids dressed up. And as one, they chorused, "Trick or treat," and put their hands out. And I said, "Oh, welcome, welcome, come on in," because that was the tradition in Scotland. You usually went into people's homes and you did your little turn. So I invited all these kids into the house. Well, you can imagine, can't you? They looked at me in horror, and as one, took a step back from the front door. So I said, "Oh, okay, well, you can do your thing out here. Yeah, on you go." And I leant against the door jam, just waiting to take it all in and enjoy the performance that I was about to enjoy. And they all looked at me blankly and said again, "Trick or treat," and put their hands out. And that's when it dawned on me. In England, in the mid-90s, people don't guise, they do trick or treat. and they don't perform. They dress up and are given sweets, and I of course gave them some sweets and complimented them on their lovely costumes. But I will confess I felt a deep pang of disappointment that these little souls were trick-or-treating instead of guising, and that they hadn't had the visceral joy of screeching out the Skyboat song on their recorders in order to get a handful of monkey nuts. And it pains me to think that the children of today will not have the joy of hollowing out a turnip, which takes bloody hours to do because it's so solid, and quite often you end up with blood in the turnip because it's easy for the knife to slip and for you to cut yourself. But it's all part of the fun. It's all part of Halloween. So it pained me to know that they won't have that experience. And it's a great joy to me to know that I did have that experience. So anyway, nowadays at Halloween, I still welcome trick-or-treaters. We still put a pumpkin rather than a turnip, just for the sake of speed, in the window with a candle in it, because now I can be trusted not to burn the house down. And we welcome trick-or-treaters. And it does give me some joy to know that quite often trick-or-treaters compliment my house, because those of you who've seen my home tour will know that I've got a kind of characterful home. It's a 1920s house that needs quite a lot of work doing on it. And at the moment, or at least last year, it's changed now, but last year we had no external lighting. So our driveway and the outside of our house was incredibly dark and spooky. Perfect for Halloween. So perfect, in fact, that one year we opened the door and there was a group of trick-or-treaters, and we gave them their sweets. And one little boy who was dressed up as a devil with a little red costume on and the horns and everything, he took his handful of sweets and he started off down the path after his friends, and then he stopped and turned around and came back to the door because he obviously, just the look on his face told me he had something he had to say. And I was standing there with my cauldron, because I have a cauldron that I put the sweets in, and I think that year I possibly had a witch's hat on. Either I had a witch's hat or a skeleton t-shirt, but I had something on that indicated that I was joining in the fun too. And he came rushing back up the driveway, and he just said to me, he obviously had something in him that was bursting to come out, and he just said to me, "Your house is the best Halloween house!" And off he went after his friends, and that makes me very happy. And so this year, on Wednesday, I will be attempting, once again, to make sure that my house is the best Halloween house in the street. And I welcome the trick-or-treaters, even though they will no longer perform, and they're no longer guising. But I'm over it. So that was what I wanted to say about Halloween, and I'm coming on to say this because I don't know if I'm going to have time this week to make another video. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. But I wanted to wish you, all of you who are looking forward to Halloween as I am, a very happy Halloween. And if you are celebrating the Celtic festival of Samhain, then I wish you a very happy Samhain as well, of course. I like to think that one can enjoy Halloween and Samhain, and one can enjoy the deep spiritual nourishment of Samhain and enjoy the visceral, spooky marvellousness of Halloween, and the two are not mutually exclusive. So, with that said, I thought what we would do is we would close with a little reading, and since it's Halloween, I'm going to do a reading, a 3-card reading, using a tarot deck, the Twisted Terror Tales, or Tarot Tales rather, because that's got a kind of Halloween-y, spooky theme. And the 3-card reading is going to be a minor card to give you an idea of some of the mundane issues that might be prevalent in your week, and a major card to talk to you about the major theme you should be aware of from a spiritual point of view, and a court card to give you a sense of who you might need to be conscious of in this week, who might be an important player in your week. And then we will finish with an oracle card from the Witch's Wisdom Oracle. I don't know why I'm just showing you the back of the card. That is the box. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the majors. So what is the major archetypal theme of our Halloween week? And remember, The way that this works is as I'm shuffling on video, I want you to be thinking and putting your energy into what this card is going to be. And through the marvellousness of the fact that time is an illusion, your influence will be felt on this shuffle. And as I cut the card, I'm cutting the card for you. And so the card that I pull will be relevant for you, as indeed it will be for all of us. So, our major theme this Halloween week is... Can I do this? The Hermit. Now, I don't know for sure what, oh no, what does that say? See, I haven't got my glasses, so I can't actually see. Oh, something self-serve. This might be from an American horror thing, but there's a hooded man there outside a self-serve garage of some sort, and he has got handcuffs on, and he's got someone else's arm attached to the other end of the handcuffs, but there's not a person attached to the arm, it's severed. Is this from something you recognise, people? If so, let me know. Anyway, the Hermit, the theme of Halloween, perhaps introspection, a bit of inward looking, thinking about how the light of one's inner self might shine forth. Solitude, all the things that the Hermit signifies. That's the major theme. So what mundane issue might be coming forth this Halloween week for all of us? And again, tune in people, tune in as I shuffle. We have a jumper, so I'm going to set that aside. Let's have two minors. That's the jumper, and we will take the card that comes out of the shuffle. So here we go. The next minor issue is, I'll have that one. So we'll do the jumper first and then the next one. So the jumper is the Seven of Cups. Choices, choices, not all of which will be savoury. So think carefully about the choices you're making this week. And ask yourself, are the things that you're choosing between all that they seem? Or are there some surprises waiting for you? And the other theme, oh, and I know what this relates to, is the Ace of Cups. And that seems like a rather poltergeisty image, does it not? They're here! Ace of Cups, so there's something there about emotional beginnings, also emotional essence. So maybe thinking about what the essence of your emotional life is at the moment, and where you can find and replenish that essence. What's reaching out to you in terms of your emotional essence? And again, does it mean you ill or will? And also, is it trying to steal your popcorn? So, mundane issues for Halloween week. And then finally, who might be important to you in this Halloween week? Maybe it's you that's going to be important, but here's the qualities of the person that you need to watch out for and be aware of this Halloween. This person is the King of Pentacles. So there's something there, is there not, about solidity, maturity, resources, earthiness, commanding earthiness. Earthiness in the achieved sense, in the completed sense, in the sense of coming to fruition. So what's coming to fruition for you on the material plane this Halloween week? That's your 3-card tarot reading. And now we will close with an oracle reading. What is the wisdom of the witch this Halloween? It is banishment, hex. So, what do you need to banish? What do you need to push away from you this Halloween week? What no longer serves you? What is it that's causing you problems? What do you need to protect yourself from? And you know, just for the hell of it, I'm going to go with the hidden message from the bottom of the deck. Isn't that a rather exciting thing to do? So the hidden message Well, how interesting. Is letha, intensification. And the nice thing about that, of course, is that this is another of the festivals, the Celtic festivals. So this is, I believe, summer solstice, letha. So maybe this is a message to those of you who are suffering a bit with the darker nights, who are struggling a bit with the fact that the clocks have changed, who wish it wasn't the dark part of the year and wish that the light would come back. This is perhaps a reminder that the light is always there. It's always in you. And whether it's the dark part of the year or the light part of the year, you do not need the sun to be visible in the sky for you to tap into the light. So whatever you're doing this Halloween week, I wish you a very happy one. And I will look forward to catching up with you all again very soon. Take care, everyone, and watch out for spooks.